Guys, we have a good show lined up for you. Celebrating Veterans Day with the veteran on the show. David is an entrepreneur, he's a husband, he is a father, he's a community stakeholder, all-around great guy. And like a lot of the men who join us on the show, he absolutely outkicked his coverage with his beautiful wife right here. I mean, she's a knockout, and she brings quite a bit of what would we say, balance and organizational mindset to the family? Is that fair?
I would say so.
I would say that's fair.
Grounding force. Right?
Yeah, you guys are yin and yangs, like my wife and I.
Yeah.
Me and you are very similar.
Yeah.
We go 1,000 miles an hour at everything, and my wife is like, probably like you, and I'm going to ask you this question. It's like, pump the brakes. Let's consider this.
Yeah.
Let's get through these tasks first, and then we can go to the next one.
Exactly.
So behind every successful man is a phenomenal woman that helps the family move in the right direction. And I've realized through some years of marriage, and I'm excited to hear David's story and his beautiful wife's story, Kirsty, of how they got married, how they fell in love, and what it's like to be entrepreneurs. They're the co-owners of Skooma Boutique Dispensary, the best dispensary in Charlottesville, located next to Rapture on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall. You guys should patronize this locally owned business. So we're going to have fun over the next 40 minutes on this program, spotlighting two fabulous people on the show. Judah, we can rock and roll when you are ready, my friend. Good Thursday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille show. Just a glorious day to be above the mud and alive here in Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, and the world on the I Love CVille network. Any day where you can get after it, make a name for yourself, hustle, and grind is a day that's all right by me. And so much to cover today. We have a husband and wife that I'm so excited to introduce you to, entrepreneurs, parents, lovebirds, community stakeholders, serial entrepreneurs. David grew up in this community. We'll welcome David and Kirsty to the program in a matter of moments. They are the visionaries and the businessman and businesswoman behind Skooma Boutique Dispensary on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall next to Rapture, a dispensary that is doing it right with certificates of analyses for everything in the store, veterans on staff, and just approachability and honesty and straightforwardness in a space of business that often does not reflect those qualities. I don't know if you've been into a dispensary or a head shop like I have. Sometimes you feel like you don't even belong there or you're not welcome. That's the absolute opposite that Skooma Boutique Dispensary does, where they welcome folks with open arms. So much we're going to cover. We're going to tell the journey and the flip book of this husband and wife from a love standpoint, from a parent standpoint, from a business standpoint, and what this community means to them. Before we do, I need to spend about 90 seconds getting a couple things off my chest. Yesterday, I posted the strategic analysis or the pitch deck of equity grading that's now coming to Albemarle County schools. In fact, the curriculum has already shifted to this equity grading model. It started during COVID and just gained traction, more momentum this semester, and we're a couple months into the semester. You know, my wife and I talked about this last night, had a meeting earlier today with a community stakeholder in education about it, and frankly, I know this is gonna perhaps ruffle some feathers, but I don't care. I think equity grading is gonna be potentially the downfall of our next generation. When you wake up in life, any day you get out of bed, it's a test, and it's a test to be the best version of yourself. And I try to do it every day, and sometimes I fail. More times than not I do, but I know each day I wake up, I want to be the best version of myself in that given day, and I'm not afraid of tests or failure or accountability. And if we start taking grades and curriculum and watering them down from an accountability standpoint, here's what's going to happen. Children, when they eventually mature and enter the workforce, will not be tested once they get into the workforce. So when they fail for the first time, they won't know how to respond when they're on the job. Furthermore, the parents and families that have means, and by means I mean money, are going to be frustrated with these changes, and they're going to send their kids to private schools or they're going to homeschool them. And when they do that, it's just going to further the generational and wealth gap that's already happening here in our country. And if we want to close this gap, it's not through equity grading. It's through holding our kids accountable and doing away with this everybody gets a trophy mentality that I find, frankly, to be nonsense. That topic on tomorrow's show, on the I Love CVille show. Today, we spotlight entrepreneurs and a couple that mean quite a bit to this community. Judah Wickower, if you can go to the studio camera, and we'll welcome Kirsty and David to the program. First, good afternoon, friends. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great, Jerry. We're glad to be here. Thank you so much for having us. And I think that's your first 90-second campaign ad, right?
We can talk about this if we
Sorry.
want. We totally
I
can.
love it,
I'm
yeah.
totally willing to, chat with you about this. First, I'd love to get everybody, have a chance to get to know you. Ladies first. You got this beautiful lady right here on your arm. If anyone follows you two on social media, you see that you guys are absolutely head over heels in love, which I think is amazing. Kirsty, the show is yours. Introduce yourself to everybody that is watching today's program, please.
Thank you. My name is Kirsty, and I am a Charlottesville native. I've been, bouncing around, but been here for 12 years since David got out of the Army. We've got 2 babies, a 3-year and a 4-year-old, and just kind of got our hands in a bunch of different areas in the community, and we love it here.
I love it. Kirsty. David, you jump in the mix here. This lady right here and what she means to you.
A lot. So, as we were talking before the show, she's like my grounding force, but it's so much more than that. When you do everything together, you get insight in more than just business or family or, living accommodations or where you're going to move to. You get to share all that together, and it's really, really great. I'm proud to say she's the strong half of the power couple.
I feel the same way
sure,
with my wife. Kirsty, I've realized the longer that I've been married, and I think it's like any marriage, my wife would agree, it's not always rainbows and roses and buttercups. It's work. But I've realized that Lauren is the foundation for the family, and what I'm able to do here and at work is because what she's doing for myself and our son. How did you guys meet? Tell the love story.
So we met.
This guy's a charmer.
He is.
He's a charmer.
So we met at. Like I said, we're local, and when we say we're local, it's not that we went to UVA and then didn't want to leave. We're like, sorry, no offense if that offended any of your viewers. No, I love you guys. She was born at UVA, I was born at UVA, both of our children were born at UVA. Did a stint at Jefferson Preschool when they did that little phase in the 90s. And then we actually met when I was a student of Charlottesville High School. She was a student of Western. We met at Charlottesville Albemarle Technical Education Center, KTEC,
Nice.
And then our culinary arts program. 2 different reasons for attendance, but nonetheless, we were glad that we both attended same class and met, and
Started dating 2 weeks after we met.
2 weeks after meeting?
Yeah.
So it sounds cliche, but it's so true for so many people. Did you know right away that this was going to be my guy?
For me, yeah.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know what it was, but I feel like something clicked and it just was easy. It's not always easy,
Sure.
but
that was, I guess, 15 years ago,
Well, yeah.
something like that.
14.
You've been dating for 15 years?
We're together, yeah.
Well, we got together.
Dating and married.
Fall of 2007, we got together, and then we got married June of 2010. So married 11, together 14.
I love it. So one thing I want to champion and celebrate is David is a veteran. he risked his life for our freedoms in this country, and I do not take that for granted. I don't have the courage or internal fortitude to do what you did. I admire you. I'm grateful for you. How did you guys weather or withstand him going into military as a couple?
Well, he told me that he wanted, I mean, I always knew he wanted to join the Army, but right before graduation, I think it was, like the winter before graduation, he said, like, I'm joining, you know, my mom has signed off because he wasn't 18 yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, like, yeah, right? So, you know, I did a year of school in Denver, and so that whole year, I mean, it was hard, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like between basic and, you know,
Iraq.
just starting out. I mean, it was hard, definitely. When he was deployed, I moved back to Charlottesville because we were in Texas, and that was definitely
So
hard.
you guys did long
but-
distance.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What branch of service?
Army.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you're Army.
Field artillery, yeah. So forward observer. So like she said, when I joined, I wanted to do infantry, right? Because it's the coolest thing to do, whatever. But my mom refused to sign the paperwork because I wasn't 18 yet, and you needed parental signature to join under the age of 18. So I asked the recruiter. This is down, you know, right behind Taco Bell on 29. You can still go recruit, you know, go join up if you want.
Why'd you want to do it?
Well, I told him, I was like, I can't join as an infantry, but, you know, what's the next coolest job? And he's like, fire support specialist. I was like, no, I don't want to be a firefighter. But he's like, no, it's really cool. You're a forward observer and you know, blow stuff up. And so I went to my mom. I was like, yeah, I'll be a fire support specialist. I need you to come in and sign. And she said, oh, so you'll be fighting fires? I was like, yeah. And so, so it was a lot of fun, though. You know, it's a really cool branch. It's a division of the field artillery.
Why'd you want to do it? Did you need a fresh start? You wanted to get away? What was?
Well, I think I had a really good influence in it, actually, a guiding force while in school, the Civil Air Patrol. I'd highly recommend it to any, especially the local chapter is very, very involved in community service and search and rescue and just a lot of leadership and training and educational development. It's Civil Air Patrol. Look it up. It's for ages between 12 and 21. They have a cadet program, and it's like a Boy Scouts meets the Air Force. Right? It's a really cool organization, the official auxiliary of the Air Force. So that, like, doing that in school really helped, you know, and watching a bunch of, you know, Saving Private Ryan stuff, you know, solidified the signature on and the raising of the right hand. So
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So you went to Iraq. Put in perspective Iraq.
So I'm going to have probably a different perspective than others. I mean, everyone's going to have their own. I enjoyed it. You know, 19 years old over there. I was in Salahuddin province, which is Balad is Saddam's biggest air base. And we would do presence patrols and missions out of that. It was an amazing experience being able to meet the locals and the kids, doing key leader engagements with the local sheiks, eating the food, immersing in the culture. We tried doing it from a good standpoint, even though we were there, whatever pretenses you want to say. So we tried to make the best of it. But, there was times that were rough, and but I'm just lucky to experience that, and, once a lifetime experience, and back home.
So you're in Iraq, and give us an into the mic so we can hear.
Oh, sorry,
You're in Iraq as a 19-year-old.
Right.
Man.
It's pretty cool.
And
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Your family is watching stateside of the news networks of what's going on. How often were you able to correspond with her and with your family?
They had a pretty good. It depended on where you were. So if we were to go out to Samara, it's a little smaller outpost or whatever, or longer patrols. You may do right. When you got the opportunity, they had these little. If anyone who's like a Army brat or something remembers the PXs, they have those over in Iraq, right? And they're a lot smaller, condensed, less inventory, and they're just for this, service members. But they usually have attachments like these little communication halls that you phone call, video, Skype. But this was 2011, so the technology wasn't, it was still emerging and good, but it was expensive. and it was limited, right? So, service was always down, or if there was an incident on the base, or, a death or something, we'd kind of go black on communications for a little bit, until, next of kin was notified and stuff like that.
How about you, Kirsty? How often could you chat with David? What do you remember from this? And we have veterans watching the show. Keith Smith, who's a Marine, who's behind the Iron Curtain,
Wow.
is giving you props right now. You're getting props from Elder Luke McCurtry.
Oh, yeah.
On your page. If you guys want to give this power couple some props,
Thank you
put the comments in the feed. Johnny Ornalis, who owns Guadalajara on JPA and owns El Mariachi and Zion's Crossroads, watching the program. Put some comments in the show, and we will in the comment section, and we will relay them on air. I'll get to the comments coming in now. What was going through your mind? I mean,
you're like a nervous wreck. I mean, you just don't know what's going on. Like he said, communication is kind of limited, every couple of days, maybe once a week, but, and especially hard for him trying to communicate with everybody back home, me and his parents and, friends and family. I think he tried to kind of shield me from things at times, which was probably the best thing that he could have done. Just, I'm already nervous enough that he's over there, and just, communication is hard. I mean, just for myself, working and trying to keep busy to keep your mind off of it, and then just enjoy every call and every message that comes through when it came through, and just trying to give him good moral support and care packages and stuff like that. So
what were some of those care
trying to
packages?
keep morale.
Man, you guys are making me miss it. Maybe you want to go back now. No, it was really cool.
Because you got a bakery business now, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Yes,
now,
yeah.
yeah.
So those care packages must have been really dope.
Yeah. But not real dope.
No, we're talking.
No, I'm just kidding. No,
We'll get to that.
they had no duels, right? And so you can't, of course, drink or smoke when you're overseas, but they had their little refrigerated cooler, low boy. You'd reach your hand in, they had cases and cases of duels and Becks. But if that's for your the non-alcoholic beer.
How long were you there? And when you got back, how hard was it to leave? Is it retire? Is that the word?
No, I just separate. I honorably discharge.
Okay.
I did my initial military service obligation, and then got my DD 214, which is like your signifying golden ticket of freedom, not freedom of departure from the military. But it's good. It has your record and everything. But yeah, so we were there, which was supposed to be the last combat operations were supposed to end in Iraq in 2011. So that was our whole mission, was to draw everything down. So when we got there, we started, we were up in Balad, and tried with the understanding that we're going to be the last Americans they probably see for a while. Again, this is with the information that we had in 2011, so we thought it was right, but. Yeah, so it was very interesting. That definitely changed the dynamic, because they thought the same thing. They thought they weren't going to see Americans anymore. So and we changed. It's very interesting.
Would you do it again?
Yeah. Yes. Not. I wouldn't change anything. Yeah, for sure.
How did that experience help you? And guys, this guy is a serial entrepreneur. I first met him at Monticello Motors. And I was immediately impressed with his likability, his he talks to anybody and everyone. He's out of the office, almost on 29, okay, having cars driving by, bringing people into the delership. I
People
was this
honking.
guy's got this contagious, larger than life personality and this energy that you just want to be around. How did the military service experience give you a base or a foundation for going into business?
So I think the desire for the business always came from
Wanting to be your own boss?
No, more I think so. And managing all the, from I think the generation I'm from is Sims and SimCity 3000 and Roller Coaster Tycoon, those games that you're playing on this like managerial level and of accounting, and you can do changes and see your business grow. So so I think doing that, military was kind of one of those things that set me straight. As you can tell with this energy and stuff, it's not very conducive to a very dress environment. So that's why I did mine. I didn't go 20, which those who do, I really thank you and support you and appreciate you. People who commit 20 years or more of their life to service is, that's very, very, that takes a lot. So yeah, anyone you see, one thing I could say, yeah, anyone you see with a hat on or, give them a high five or handshake today. My thing, if I see Vietnam veteran, I always just say welcome home, even if it's 50 years late. It's good to,
Well said. Yeah. Well said. What was the, Kirsty, what was the Monticello Motors experience like? What do you remember? How long? Put in perspective the business first. Where it was?
It was just the two of us for a long time. It was just him for like the first year until I joined. And then it was just the two of us for a while.
Yeah.
And
we're talking about Monticello Motor, all the red dirt you see up by Profit in 29.
Yeah.
They're doing all kinds of, so that car dealership still remains.
Yeah, it's still there. It's still Monticello Motors.
We were lucky to have it and it's 30 years it's been selling cars. We occupied it for 4 and did really well and just really blessed and lucky and thankful, and then had a presented opportunity to sell it. And
yeah, you say yes. Yeah, I love it. It's a dream.
Yeah. But now, well, I'll let you finish. Go ahead. Sorry.
Please.
For that, it's definitely a kind of different world, that business. It kind of makes me feel for the used car dealers of the world because, right off the bat, they kind of have a bad rep. And so with this guy, I think that's why we were so successful, is because people came in expecting like the normal, kind of
slickster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then they got him, and he's honest and likable, like you said. Like everybody loved him, and that's one of the things that I think I heard the most was people loved his honesty and the fact that like they felt comfortable buying a used car from him because if there was an issue, we were upfront about it, and if there was an issue after the sale, then we worked with them. We did, we didn't just send them on and say, peace out, like done with you, But I think that's why we're so successful.
That was another reason selling business was we were a little too. I think I was a little too. Yeah, but it's okay because it's a really tough in business. I would if anyone's out there watching figuring out what business to get into, I would not recommend
Why so tough?
Because it's so. I don't know how much into business you want to get about it.
I would love to. I'd love to learn.
So it's all. We had the floor plan companies, which was great, right? They give us these lines of credit that we go to the auctions, buy vehicles, sign our name, get this absorbent interest rate. But it was it was all leverage, right? So then we get the vehicles back after contacting the transport, and then get them on the lot, and then by law we had to inspect them before we sell them. So then we had to get them inspected, and then when they come back, detailed, and then listed and marketed, and then test driven. So you're dealing with a lot of components, and then when it's sold, you're dealing with the DMV and the and then their financing, right? So whoever their consumer lending, which was great. We partnered with a lot of really good local banks, Pioneer Bank, Blue Ridge Bank. We did some with UVA, Mariner Finance. Yeah, but it's a lot, right? So knowing now what I've learned from actually Tiger Fuel, looking back, maybe I wouldn't have sold the dealership. Maybe I would have just, put contingencies in place that could scale it and delegate and then remove myself. But when we sold it I was 27, I didn't really know that, right? So I had the knowledge of the Army and running my own business. So we had a lot of things that we just weren't doing just because I didn't know the right way to do it. So we'd go into the bank with stacks of cash after we sold a car, excited with no deposit slip. But then, working for Tiger, it's wow, this is how businesses ran.
So I'll give him a flip book here. I'll give him a flip book of what happened here. He sold his business. They sold their business. They did extremely well with the exit at Monticello Motors. Then David went to work for the Suttons at Tiger Fuel.
Great company.
Multi-generation local company, just a killer business.
Dude,
the Suttons, the brothers, A-plus people, continuing their father's legacy. So let's talk about like that transition of going from like entrepreneur to like working for other people.
Right. So it was awesome at first, right? Because the grass is always greener, right? You're like, oh man, this is so nice. No more headache, no more stress, guaranteed paycheck, you know. But, you know, I guess like someone's workload, I don't think changes when they go to another job. You know, it's based on their work ethic, right? Like they're gonna.
You grind no matter what.
Yeah, I work at max capacity, so like it doesn't matter. So I was with them for almost 3 years, and it was a really good like learning experience, and it's a great company, and just seeing the way they do have internal controls and how organized they are, and so I was like, wow, this is a efficiently well-run business. So I was able to like learn like crash course. I was the operations manager for their car washes, so helping Rex and Maurice and Gordon, expanding from 8 locations locally to 10, and we developed their express model tunnel in Ruckersville membership model, which you'll notice a lot of companies you give your money to are going to this membership model for good reason.
What's the reason?
Very lucrative, right? So like, you know, if I can get 1,000 people to give me $10 a month guaranteed,
you got a business model you can build around.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You know,
plan cash flow.
Yeah. Yeah. So that in the car, and it's a good deal. It's a win-win for everyone as long as, you know, it's like the gym membership model, right? So that was a great, you know, great company. I would working there and seeing a lot of stuff internally for 2.5 years. Like, you know, I would probably lead someone, and at that level I was at, I could probably tell some crazy story. There's nothing to smear, because it's honest to goodness. It was a great company to work with, but yeah, just to your question.
How difficult was it? And you got people giving you props. So is it Keyshawn Cherry?
Keyshawn, he just did the national anthem at I don't know sports well, but the LA basketball team. Sorry, Keyshawn. Who plays it?
The Lakers?
The Lakers, yeah. He did the national anthem for their game.
He says, "Go David, this is great." I'm watching the program right now. Ellie Grace, man, look at these 2 beautiful people. Jonathan, we will get to your comments, guys. If you want to give Kirsty and David some props, just put them in the feed and we will relay them on air. Jonathan, I will get to, in fact, here's a good time for Jonathan's comments. Who's a customer of Skooma. He wants to know, did you always know that you were an entrepreneur or business owner, and how difficult was it to work for somebody else? We touched on that a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, at first I remember telling Gordon, even like before they hired me, I was like, look, I promise I'm not going to like come in.
Gordon and Taylor are the owners, the brothers behind Tiger Fuel.
Right, yep. So I tell him, look, I know I just came from a business, and you're probably concerned that I'm going to come in here thinking I own the place. I don't want to do that. But as time goes on, and any good employee, you want them to have this ownership, invested interest. And yeah, I saw how well it could be duplicated or replicated, and just like, wow, if you do run a business well, it's freaking easy. Like if you can delegate to someone who knows how to do this or knows how to do this, you know, you can, you know, that was my biggest thing, I think, at the dealership was just, so anyway, to answer that question, it is challenging, but I guess it's all in your perception.
What do you remember?
From the dealership, I think.
Or anything.
Or from
Yeah.
I mean, the whole transition, for me, it was a very big transition, because when we sold the dealership, he had already had his new job lined up, but I was pregnant with our second child. So the whole
And we bought a house.
4-day span of us selling it, exactly. So like we bought our new house on April 27th. Our daughter was born the 28th. We sold the dealership May 1st. Like it was a whirlwind of transition.
That was a crazy weekend.
For me, it went from, you know, we had our son already, but, you know, he was in daycare, and it went from, you know, every day at the dealership to stay-at-home mom. And it was just kind of like, you know, but I mean, it has its pros and cons. It was a big transition, but I think we dealt with it pretty well.
How about
and
that
Tiger
transition?
made it easy.
How about that transition to stay-at-home mom? That's not always an easy one.
It's definitely not, especially when you're not used to it. I mean, it's already more than a full-time job, so having to juggle all of them and then the sale of the dealership and still kind of have to deal with that for, training the people we sold it to. It was definitely, it's not for the faint of heart being a stay-at-home parent.
No, I'd say that's the hardest job in the world, is being a stay-at-home parent.
It's all the time. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week. I mean, daytime, nighttime, even when you're not ready and don't, you just want some downtime. No.
There's no downtime. Dude, I say all the time on the show, it's like Monday morning and I'm sprinting at the door to get to the car to go to work. And I love my son. We have one. How many kids do you have?
We have two.
You have two.
Yeah.
You have two. So I've said so many times, stay-at-home parent is the hardest job in the world. And we talk about this, my wife and I, and she went
most rewarded.
From finance. She went from finance to stay-at-home parent, and she said that she initially was struggling with a purpose. Like finding like her purpose.
Keeping yourself.
Like
That is
identity.
definitely- your identity, because you just get engulfed in just these, however many kids you have and, their lives and making sure that they're fed and clothed and, the house is in order and dealing with them. So like when it's a 24-hour job taking care of them, it doesn't really leave a whole lot of time for yourself. So keeping your identity of like who you are as an individual, it can be very difficult when, if you have a good support system, then it makes it a little bit easier, finding time to just be alone and do your own thing. But it's definitely not an easy job.
Chad Wood giving you guys some props.
Hi,
Watching the program right now. Keep up the good work.
Congrats,
Ray
Chad,
Morris.
on the new job.
Oh, yeah.
Back over at Sonny's. Yeah.
Ray Morris says, hi, David.
Ray.
He's watching. Eric White, hello. Welcome to the program.
Good
Seville Weekly, hello.
Veteran.
Welcome to the show. NBC 29, hello. Welcome to the show.
Good.
Jamie Turner has this. This is a good comment right here. We'll get to Jamie, the mayor of Gordonsville here. My top secret security clearance does not allow me to have THC in my system. Forgive my ignorance here, but are there any products at Skooma that do not have THC? And absolutely.
I'll be brief. I promise I won't
Yeah.
go on a long tangent. There's what's called isolate-based CBD products, which is when extracted, they're THC-free. So you'll still get like the supplemental goodness of CBD into your endocannabinoid system, but you will not have any of the THC, not even in trace amounts like you would in like a full spectrum product. So those are what you're going to see. We have a couple different brands and a couple different methods of ingestion. Wherever you want to be, come. Yeah, we definitely, Jamie, got something for you so you don't lose your CSI or CIS or what do they call it? Yeah. The
Security clearance.
Security clearance.
Yeah. Ashley Christine Smith, Kirsty, you are absolutely amazing. Watching the program here. Put this in perspective. The transition from do you have two kids when you're working at Tiger Fuel?
Yeah.
So you have two kids.
Newborn. Yeah.
So
16 months apart.
I'm curious for you here. Newborn, two children, working at a great company like Tiger Fuel. Great company. Okay. Earning good paycheck. And this guy's got ideas just like all the time, right? I mean, every day is a different idea. Me too. Every day is a different idea. Same for me. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the same way. Totally the same way. And he comes to you and you guys are like, I want to start a dispensary in Charlottesville. What was that like?
I mean, I think that
Good, the bad, and ugly. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
I think for me, being kind of like the planner, it's a little bit difficult. Just but I think I've learned over the years, especially with this guy, is that like since I met him when we were 15, it's always been like this. So I think I've just become accustomed to
Sorry, I apologize.
No, don't apologize. Just trying to be supportive and think through every idea that he has, because he has good ideas. And so when he's, told me that he wanted to do this, I mean, I think it was like 2 months before we opened. And it was just, from then on, I'm just like, okay, like.
Wait, he told you 2 months before you opened that you wanted to do the dispensary?
That's what I found out too.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
He was like, let's do it. Like, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, okay, we're going to figure it out. That's
it
just
worked.
it. I
It's
think
just
that's
time and opportunity.
Yeah,
It works.
our
Like,
motto
it's
has always
brilliant. Yeah.
been, it'll work out
It's gonna
because
work.
it has
It
to.
always
It
works.
always works out. So
because like all those terms that people are like, what if or works or like,
They're not even in your mind.
they're subjective, right? So like a what if to you and a what if to me is like completely different. So yeah, I love the what ifs because they they empower me to like succeed, right? Because there's no like when people say like failure's not an option, like or that there's only one way out there, we're only going up. Like all that's true, but I just don't even think like, because I think failure is like a state of mind too. So right, like even if you when you're on your trajectory, and if it's different flight path, like you just adjust. Like there's no absolute. There's not like any day where it's just gonna be like, oh, you failed. Like, no, you just adjust fire. Or just fire. Yeah, it goes back to the military, right? So like calling for fire, forward observer, you have binoculars and compass and maybe a laser range finder and a dagger and a map or whatever you have, radio, but yeah, if you shoot out, right, and you do subsequent corrections, right, that are pretty simple, you don't overthink it, right, you try to get around on one side of the target and get around on another side of the target and then adjust, until you hit the target, but it's calling adjust fire. You just adjust fire. Like if the round comes out and hits somewhere you don't want to hit, you just adjust it and shoot again. Like it's not that hard. That's I don't know.
Jamie Turner says he's going to see you soon at SCUMA. There's Mr. Gordonsville right there. Jamie, we very much enjoy you contributing to the show. Jamie Beck, good stuff. Keep it up, David.
Hey, Jamie's a good dude. Jamie Beck is, we served together in Iraq, and then he served in Afghanistan after that. So thank you, Jamie.
Jamie, thank you for your service, sir. So 2 months before SCUMA opens. So this is SCUMA open in early July.
July 1, yeah.
Okay. So this is May. Talk to me about that conversation with you guys.
I mean, it was just another one of those conversations of an idea he has, but I think this one, with legalization being July 1st, it just made the most sense. I mean, it just was
It's
a
a good idea.
no-brainer.
Cheap rent because of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, my landlord's listening. Oh man, the only problem we have is our damn. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, concessions for COVID, right? So like in the commercial real estate agent or region or commercial real estate area, as you know, being a commercial landlord, Jerry, that there's definitely some concessions having to give out for COVID.
Definitely.
Rightfully so, but it's okay because everything's cyclical and everything's trends. So like. Now's the time. If you want to start a business, whether it's retail or whatever, do it. I mean, there's nothing. It's gonna work. Mm-hmm. And now's your chance to get, maybe your cheaper rent. And then you can see that it's gonna go back up your rent. Because it's a little bit different than the rent you sign with, an equal housing lender. But usually you'll find if you have a good landlord that's willing to work with you and that actually wants you to succeed, like we do. We have it makes it a lot easier too.
And I'll put this in perspective for those that don't know. Where SCUMA Boutique Dispensary is located is on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall. And for 5 states, 6 states including Virginia, 6 total states, 5 outside Virginia. For those that are watching outside the Commonwealth, the Downtown Mall in Charlottesville is like the heartbeat of our town. It is the best 8 blocks of Charlottesville. So where SCUMA is located in this retail storefront is as Class A gets. So this guy, David, a risk taker, had the vision and realized that he wanted to have it where like the most foot traffic was, where locals and tourists and students alike convene, which is the downtown mall. He's doing it right next to an incredibly popular bar that's also a great music and nightlife venue. There's tons of other music venues and bars that are in close proximity. So it took a lot of cojones, lack of a better phrase, to do it there. Because most or just about all the dispensaries are not in such sexy real estate positions.
Right.
Okay, so that's props to you. Talk to me about how you connect with Alan Kajin. He listens to the show.
Right.
Okay.
So, someone I gotta thank is Stu Rifkin.
Stu's here. Hello, Stu. We love you, Stu.
Stu, I gotta have him on the show. We can do a love story between me and him too.
I love Stu. I equally love Stu.
I started working for him at the Nook. Actually, I worked at the Nook before he owned it, back when Terry and Joe had it. but yeah, I think he's been a lot of my inspiration. I've told him that before. I was like, man, you've inspired a whole generation of wannabe punks like me, and just joking, whatever, but it has, like, seeing him run restaurants and stuff, like, as in high school, as a, an impact on someone from
How so? Put it in perspective.
just seeing him hustle and move and and do his thing, and then I left for the Army and came back, and he helped me find the negotiate the deal with Bill Howard over at Real Estate 3 with the dealership. And
Stu helped with the Monticello Motors.
I needed a spot, and he helped me find that spot. So
This is how small a world Charlottesville is, and we all know it's really small. So Bill Howard is a commercial real estate aficionado, a realtor that specializes in commercial real estate. His wife, Glenda Howard, was the representation for the people that we bought our home from.
Oh,
so it's like we're all like 1 degree
It's
apart.
all- yeah.
Stu, I see all the time. So Stu Rifkin, to offer some background, is a business broker. He's in the real estate game. I believe a realtor himself, certainly a business broker, and also a man that understands how to run many different kinds of businesses. He is a guy that understands cost of goods. He can read a P&L.
Labor,
He,
yeah.
he does labor. He keeps things in check.
Yeah.
He was managing at one time a lot of Corn Capshaw's restaurants on the downtown mall. So this guy, I 100%, and I'll throw it back to you, like, has influenced a couple generations.
Yeah, seriously, I wasn't joking when I told him. I mean, like,
literally,
time, but
of entrepreneurs.
Yeah,
Back to
seriously.
you here on this, David.
yeah, sorry. But yeah, so he helped me, with Chaz Webster.
Webster,
Kajine's representation here, and and again, they were just wanting me to, we looked at a ton of places, because there's a ton of places open, right?
Did you know you wanted to be on the mall?
I just wanted the best possible spot.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the biggest consideration at first.
Yeah, I think out of all the spots we chose, that
Oh,
one
look
was
at
the best one. Yeah, or all the spots we looked at, that one was just a no-brainer, just because of the diversity that's on the downtown mall. We were just kind of trying to think ahead, like, if we were to open a second location, where would it be? Who would we kind of try to gear it towards? But I think we found that, out of all the people who shop, I mean, we get so many different
So
kinds
diverse,
of people. It's
yeah.
such a diverse
Yeah.
clientele that we serve.
We're
So
glad
I feel
we
like,
picked downtown mall.
it was just the perfect spot.
So how do you recreate? So let's put in perspective how well Skuma's doing. Skuma's crushing. Skuma's doing well. Can I say exceeding expectations? Is that fair?
That's fair.
We're very fortunate, very
Yeah.
grateful. Yeah.
Okay.
We got a lot of people to thank, a lot of really good employees, and
Yeah,
people
definitely.
and vendors and industry. Jumping into this industry, right? There's people was kind of like a shock to the water, right? It kind of upset a lot of people who have been doing this for a couple of years,
Because you were so new to the game.
right? But I didn't come in as a position of like gangster, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the big
Yeah.
weed dealer in town. No, it's like
You
I'm a
came in
businessman.
rising
Yeah.
tide is good for all ships.
Exactly.
Was your mentality that you came in.
Yes, and that's still the case, and we're still doing really well. And when people come in, and we're still having certain people come in and that are in the industry, and it goes one of two ways. They either love us and they're like embracing us, and but some people are a little like either threatened or put off or don't understand.
But why threaten, do you think?
But as soon as they come in and they see what we're about, that fog goes away.
yeah, because you're so
it's not
you're
like that at all.
Good dude.
Yeah. So,
Like-
and that's we still have Jonah's products, which we love, and she's upgraded her line. She's tweaking the ingredients, just like we're making little tweaks to make it better and better. So we just got another local brand in, Blue Ridge Seed, and so we're working with Pure Shenandoah, a great company over in Elkton. We're doing big stuff with. So there's we're all growing together, like you said. Rising tides rise all ships.
That's that 100%. We'll acknowledge some of the viewers watching. So, Chris and Vicky Baker, good job, guys. Vicky and I are very proud of you. How late is Skooma open? What are your hours? We'll get to that. Your sister is Lauren, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's watching. She says, I love you guys. Barbara Lopez giving David some props, saying, how are you? Carrie Griggs, what's up,
Heck
David?
yeah,
Giving you
another
some
hustler.
props.
Terry Griggs, a big time. Yeah.
Big time hustler.
Yeah,
Trey
good.
Wilkerson, Charlie Hall,
Same
Todd
time.
Breeden, Luis Rodriguez, Gen Ballou, Michael Marks, Harrison Holland. A lot of your homies watching the program. Grace Stevenson watching in Keswick right now. We have Louise Sherling watching in Earlysville. We have Brian Coppinger, who's watching in Belmont. Megan Quick, this is an amazing family. Love you all, what you're doing. 7 states on the program, literally
yeah.
as we're watching the program. So now I should do a plug. Skuma's in Charlottesville on the downtown mall next to Rapture. In the heart of Charlottesville. They're also online,
CBD
or you can
Delta
find
8.
online. Yeah,
Yep.
CBD Delta 8 certificates of analyses for everything in the store. I need to give these guys some props. We're in the branding business, and as soon as you walk into Skooma, you realize how like clean and how like easy to navigate the store is. Like the feng shui is like wonderful, and it's like you
Thank
go
you,
to a
Jared.
lot of like head shops or dispensaries, and it's like cluttered, and it's like messy.
Right.
When yours is the absolute polar opposite. Someone described this well as the Apple Store of dispensaries. And like that is a perfect description of
Yeah,
what you guys are
same.
doing. How did you walk me through the design of the store?
So like all those places you mentioned, I love them. I spend a lot of money in the head shops. Like there's nothing wrong with them. I'm not gonna lie, they're a good place. You know, if you go in there, we don't want to steal you away from anyone. Like there's enough business for us all. But some people
Yours is very different.
very different.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So like you said, there's a certain kind of clientele and it ranges. You know, you can't really pinpoint it. But there's some people who do walk into those and don't really feel comfortable or welcomed, or they might feel overwhelmed or anxiety induced by just all the inventory and backstock and product and
It's almost like when you go to a Chinese restaurant and you look at the menu and there's so many options, you're like overwhelmed of what to order.
Right.
Like that's how some shops are.
still
Skooma is not like that.
Yeah. So we have, how it is when you walk in, it's all high quality CBD and THC Delta 8, which is psychoactive cannabinoid extracted from the hemp plant. Therefore, we can sell it in a retail environment, unlike cannabis, hemp, or cannabis, marijuana, or weed, which you cannot sell in a retail environment. But anyway, like the way we have it is we have it like segmented. So we have, based on your preferred method of ingestion, if you want smokables, we have a cabinet for that. We have flour by the Fat Eighth. We have edibles. We have tinctures, vape pens, disposable carts, or we have it all. CBD, topicals. We have a spa care line, glass. We're teaming up with some local glass blowers, getting some local glass in there finally.
I want to throw this, and I have said for years on this show that I am pro-cannabis. I have said for years on this show what the government has done to the cannabis plant is an absolute travesty.
Oh, man,
it was
that's
done in nearly a century ago by people that were working for the federal government to try to maintain or keep their job. So they stigmatized cannabis and marijuana because they wanted to keep a paycheck coming to themselves by saying this was a nasty, terrible drug. The reality is it's from the earth. It has so many positive uses for it, whether it's pain relieving, whether it's anxiety relieving, whether it's relaxation, sleeping through the night, cataracts, cancer patients, whether it's people that may or may not have an appetite, that cannabis can help with this. It is so useful.
Yeah, pediatric seizures.
Yeah.
So that's the FDA approved use for CBD right now is pediatric seizures. And you can see you can Google it. It's not and what it is. And I can explain. I mean, I can't explain it as well as others can, but I would love to.
Please do.
Yeah. So in short gist of it, and please anyone can chime in and add. But the ECS, your endocannabinoid system. Is made up of CB1 and CB2 receptors, both in your brain and then like in some of your organs like your pancreas and stuff. And we all have this, this system, right? Well, CBD, other cannabinoids are naturally almost like free radicals constantly being made and destroyed in your body. Well, CBD acts as like a supplement to that endocannabinoids, the ECS, and what it just allows those receptors to be a little bit more receptive. So you'll notice it's not like curing anything, right? Like taking a tincture of CBD is not going to like fix your arm, right? But it's going to help your body. What that ECS system does is it helps your body reach homeostasis and take care of it itself. So it's really interesting, and it's really cool if you do a lot of research on it. The ECS, CBD, THC, a lot of stuff was done by the Mental Health Institute in the early 90s. That is when they first found it. But it's really, and it's nice. The coolest thing, so the two, I'd say, I'll go off on this while I'll hand it back to you. So the two coolest things about opening the store is, like I call them, and I mean it with absolute most respect, OG or old head smokers, like, coming in and saying like, I've been smoking for 40 years and it feels so good to say that now. Or, or coming in even better and like telling their stories and just being able to learn from them. That's been great. And the other thing is, being able to like actually help, people. It's pretty freaking, it's pretty nice.
I'll add to this and then you jump in here. Anywhere you want to go, anything you want to cover here. Now, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we have 7 states watching. Each state has different regulations. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, a person can legally have an ounce or less on their person without fear of the law and any kind of arrest. You're also, is it David, 4 plants you can grow at home? 4 plants you can grow at your house.
Right, in private.
In private. Not just your house, but in private.
Right.
Eventually, we're all seeing the writing on the wall that Commonwealth of Virginia is going to want a piece of the action. So the retail legalization of cannabis is on the near horizon. I will ask the pro over here, David, about that here in a matter of moments. I also want to add this, that cannabis has a long history of being associated with racial profiling. And if you look at the statistics, people of color are more than 3 times more likely to get arrested due to cannabis on their person than people that look like us. And that is a travesty. So the legalization of this is paramount, has been paramount to creating social justice and to narrowing the gap of unfairness in our society. And that is all, look it online, that is all fact what I'm saying here.
Right.
I want to throw this to you. What was it like when you initially were telling family and friends that you were opening a dispensary in Charlottesville? I mean, did you catch some flack initially?
More so me than him with
Okay.
family.
You did? Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I feel like it's becoming more and more acceptable now that more and more states are legalizing it in one way or another. And I think it's definitely helped, as far as it's becoming, or has, I guess, for personal, legal in Virginia. So it's a little bit easier to kind of, take the criticism, but everybody has been just really supportive. I mean,
everyone that comes
customers,
in,
family, friends, like they've all been incredibly supportive of us. And, just throwing it back to, the fact that we can help people is, it makes it so much better just hearing the testimonials, and what's exciting is that now it's because it's becoming legal, we can get more of those scientific
research
and
didn't exist.
and tests done to find out more about it. There's so much that we don't know about it, and so far it's been great. So I think that will help also for people who are still kind of skeptical. Is like, now that it's legal, let's look further into it, and it's not all bad.
Spencer Thomas, where is this family's business located? Next to Rapture on the downtown mall, Spencer. I know you're local. Support the local businesses that make the community great. Thank you for watching. Joshua Mays giving you some props. Betsy Grinnell giving you some props right now. Give the show a like and a share on all the social media platforms you guys are watching upon, and I'll relay any of your positive commentary or your questions to our fantastic guest today in the program. So, when did you realize you opened in July 1? When did you realize that, all right, did you have an aha moment? Were you like, this is clicking, this is...
It was way before July 1.
Okay, it was? Tell me about that.
Yeah. It was Chaz, actually. Chaz
Webster.
If anyone knows him, you're gonna be surprised to hear this, that he told me to like tone it down.
Okay.
Because
that does surprise me.
Yeah, it is, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't think I can use the language I use, but I would.
You can use any language you want here.
Just kept saying like we're gonna kill it. Like, it's just like a simple formula, and it's gonna, you just right, find the good location, and then when that's done, right, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Then you can focus on quality of the product, right? Once you figure that out, then you can focus. Like, so we triaged like our importance of items, right? So like location was number one. Number two, now once that's done, now we can focus number one being quality of product, right? Number two, we focused on sustainability of that product, not necessarily, or in more ways than one, like economic sustainability of the producer, distributor, ourselves, our employees, but of sourcing it, the product, making sure we can continually have it for customers. And then number three, our third consideration, which a lot of people would think would be paramount, but unfortunately it's just not. It's just third for us, is the local, right? When possible, if it meets one, sourced locally. Mm-hmm. So we do have a lot of local brands, and we're growing them. They just have to meet the first two.
Idea.
So you got the proof of performance, the first location humming. You got big plans. I already know you have big plans here. What are you doing to scale the brand?
The day before yesterday, we bought a delivery vehicle.
Okay, tell everybody about this.
So,
Day before yesterday, folks.
Cash flow, isn't it? Oh, man. Bought a little Transit Connect, right? We're going to wrap it and clean it up and secure it and get a standard operating procedure on how to effectively and efficiently incorporate in-house delivery. And it'll start with our D8 and CBD.
So this is like the pizza business of a dispensary.
Right.
Is that basically what it is?
Right. So
that's brilliant, dude.
So that's so we don't know
That's
where
brilliant.
we don't know where it's gonna, like, that unfortunately might have to go away if need be, once we figure out how it all shakes out legality. Mm-hmm. But we'll hope that we'll be able to maintain that
Keep it,
convenience
yeah.
for people. The way it's looking, I'm really actually glad the way Virginia's doing it, because they are trying to do fair and equitable. There was
With the licenses?
with the licenses, right?
Yeah.
So there was a concern about, like, just are they going to do it like ABC route and just privatize, or government monopoly the whole thing? And luckily they're not doing that. So, but when they're not doing that, there's a lot of stuff they have to go through, and that's what they're doing right now. There was just a meeting, I think it was yesterday, in Richmond, and we're getting closer, but it's looking like you'll see probably a lot of like these micro, like vertical integration, almost like microbreweries. You'll probably see that in the cannabis industry as a licensee.
Oh, okay, I want to go down this
Yeah.
road. This is one of my favorite parts of owning an ad shop here is, like, I get to chat with folks like you who know the business better than I do, and then kind of like crystal ball and like
Yeah.
see down the
Let's
road.
do it together,
Because
yeah.
you're a visionary. You're a visionary here. How do you see it playing out, the space?
So our space,
Like the micro, how do you see the vertically integrated space playing out from like grower to retail to brand building? I mean, do you see it playing out as
The
like
breweries. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Give me your knowledge.
So I think that's the way it'll be. You'll see like a lot of these like micro boutique brands pop up, right, that are like seed to sell on the same property, which is cool, and I think that's really good because they're going to be the smaller,
Seed to sell. So that's
Yeah.
like the farm to table of cannabis. Seed to sell.
yeah, or seed to smoke, or.
I love that.
Affordable.
I love that.
But I think I stole that from
That's great.
Pierre Shenandoah might sue me on that one. I think they might have coined that one. But no, it's so there's going to be that. I think you're going to have your like private equity money or big conglomerates come in and muscle their way and have their stake. But it looks like there'll be cultivation licenses, retail licenses, and then the only way you can do it integrated is if you have that. Well, again, this is all like anyone who's giving you, people say some crazy stuff about like retail sales because there's nothing sense. It's not,
speculation.
it's
Yeah.
all speculation. So you'll hear some like, oh, you need $1 million, and you'll hear this, but
For the licenses?
well, no, sorry, I don't even mean to repeat things that you'll hear. Sorry, but it is interesting, and it is adapting and evolving, and we have good counsel that I think is going to make sure that we do secure one of those licensees through things that we're doing and showing that we're setting a standard pretty freaking high, and doing things the right way, and hopefully that'll reflect well when they come time to distributing them. The
I love
licenses.
it. I absolutely love it. So you have, I would say, a market advantage showing this proof of performance with SCUMA to obtain a license, right? As opposed to someone that's just fresh to the game trying to get one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge.
Right.
Is that the big picture here?
I guess so, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, if you want to know, we were thinking that would be Delta 8, THC Delta 8 was a legal stopgap, but what we're finding is it's a little bit more than that. People are really enjoying it. So, like you mentioned earlier, sales are higher than we expected. Is because Delta 8 is it's a less psychoactive, less intense, less potent THC. It's still THC, so it'll still register on your analysis, right? And that's why that very good comment from Jamie from Gordonsville is relevant, because if you when we got to stop people before ready to take Delta 8 thinking it's hemp derived, they're good to go. It's well, you're good to go on there's no federal prohibition against it, but it'll still pop out as and it still
On a
has
security
Drug
clearance.
test
Yeah,
where-
yeah.
So, because it has, but what we're finding is because it is less potent and less psychedelic, there's less anxiety and paranoia associated with it. So, there's a lot of people that actually enjoy it, not to replace cannabis, Delta 9 or weed, but as a again, just
There's
as
different benefits from it. Like you said earlier, a lot of people are, have trouble sleeping or appetite issues. I mean, pain, and that we found a lot of people enjoy Delta 8 for those reasons.
usually in topical form,
Totally.
or topical
Yeah,
form,
like a
or
tincture
tincture,
or- yeah.
sublingual is really effective.
Or gummy.
Gummy is
Yeah.
great for the digestion, and
Yeah.
it stays in your system so long. It's great for sleep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this is, I can speak to this. Okay, I'll give you some perspective on this. My father-in-law, and this is important for all the viewers that are watching. My father-in-law, and I don't think he would care that I'm saying this. My father-in-law has said he has not gotten a good night's sleep in 20 years.
Jeez.
20, can you imagine 20 years of not having a good night's
Tossing-
sleep?
tossing
and turning,
for 20
getting
years.
up constantly, aches and pains. Did CBD from someone local in Long Island, New York.
Yeah.
The night he took it, said the best sleep he's had in 20 years. Slept through the night.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And to have the quality of life of being able to sleep through the night speaks to the value of the product. And theirs is the best because of the certificates of analyses
Yeah.
for everything in the store. You know what you're taking.
Yeah.
So this is a good one from Leslie Smith, who is watching. Leslie, where are you watching? You've watched the show before. I believe, Leslie, you are 20 South. She says, moms are becoming a big buyer of CBD just to relax with kids at home. It's something that we can take, and we're still able to focus on our kids, as opposed to having the couple of white wines we know that all our moms do, all us moms do. Let's talk about that. The biggest customer base is not the customer base that the cliche would otherwise
It's
indicate.
not who you think it would
Yeah,
be.
yeah. So go down the road. You're a mom.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like as a mom, like she said, instead of having the few white wines that might make you feel sick the next day, that you're not going to get that from CBD. And I mean, even Delta 8, I mean, you don't get hungover the next day, so you can fully function and take care of what you need to take care of, but you're also reaping the benefits of this amazing plant that, like you said, relaxation, anxiety, which I think is a huge one for, stay-at-home moms, just, am I doing enough?
Right.
And that it just... I mean, it's a huge benefits.
Yeah, we recommend lowest effective dose. So there's, and we segment it. So CBD is on one side and D8's everywhere else.
Yeah.
Because we want to make it clear that CBD is non-psychoactive, right? It's more of it's all the good without the high. Whereas D8's kind of like that, starting to get into that like.
You've
a little-
called it in the past, if memory serves correct, diet weed.
Yeah, diet weed,
Yeah?
marijuana.
Is that right?
Yeah, and people and it depends on the method of ingestion, right? So, and everyone's system's different. So, the same way it reacts to your father-in-law, it could react, everyone differently. And that's why we say lowest effective dose, because then you can titrate it from there, right? So, like, start out at 10 milligrams a serving, and then figure out where you want to be and work from there. But we're just lucky to, it's awesome. It's cool being a punk kid running around the downtown mall this big, and then now.
Being a business owner
Yeah.
on the downtown
Yeah.
mall. Yeah, not only a business owner on the downtown mall, but one of the best locations. I mean, it's like a corner end cap on the mall. It's got great window frontage.
Paramount's right there.
Dude, it's like fantastic. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. All right, so what is the plan to scale? You got a delivery truck. Are you thinking location 2 already?
Yes, you have to.
Okay. Can I ask? If people watching, you want to keep it on the DL? We can keep it on the DL.
I've told probably enough people that
Well.
This is, though, I want to give you a heads up, you're a friend of mine. This is different than telling people this is a video, lives on the internet
this is
forever.
all- yeah.
Okay. With a lot of people.
coming soon.
Coming
Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
second location is in the Hopper.
Hopefully, very much so. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Can I ask this question then? And if we can go to a different topic if you want.
No.
Are we thinking like potentially next 6 months?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So
Awesome. That's awesome.
So what we're actually focused on now is like the delivery vehicle, right? Because we want to be able to, because we know that the mall can be sometimes a pain in the butt. So like we want to be able to,
Logistics of all that.
like frictionless transactions with our customers, make them as simple as possible.
Okay.
But the next thing we're doing and focusing on, and I don't care who knows this because I'm proud of it, is a private white label brand. And what we're doing with that is
Brilliant.
we have
That's vertical integration.
4 months of data, right, of sales data and quality data and seeing what moves and seeing what people like and seeing the dosages. And we're going to all of our suppliers and, pulling the best products and tweaking them based on recommendations from you guys and then producing them under our own label. So like, but we'll still carry everything else, but now we have like, hey, this is very similar to this. It's actually from the same, it's over in Elkton. It's still just as local, but we've actually
That's brilliant.
Made it better.
tweaked,
with our
you
own- yeah.
we've, so.
And you'd call it SCUMA?
Yeah.
That's
Skooma,
brilliant.
yeah.
That is absolutely brilliant because your margins obviously would be better on that.
Well, I don't care about that. I just like the fact that we're taking a product that's not like either nationally or regionally or locally distributed, and we're taking the input from the customer and tweaking it. And you know what I mean? Like it's like if we had a cheeseburger with lettuce, tomato, mayo, and every day 10 customers didn't want lettuce on them. It's like, well, we're going to start just offering, something. You know what I mean? Like we just want to be able to.
The feedback is what I think makes it easier, or especially for just like a local business, is like we can work with the public and what, if there's a product that we have that just doesn't work, then, we can do something about it. It's not like
Stop carrying it, yeah.
we can stop carrying it. So if people, we can just
And then
tweak
we've
what
done
we
that.
have and,
If a product doesn't meet our standard, we'll pull it from the shelf. Or
like you were saying, it's quality. Like if
Yeah.
it's not up to par, then it's gone. Like
yeah,
we're not
but
gonna
we're
keep
also
doing it.
like just scaling up is like we're buying more inventory, and these all these distributors are seeing how well we're doing, and we're getting these price breaks. And you'll notice like if you were to look at a graph, like our prices have dropped, our costs have dropped, but we've just kind of like
Your
adjusted
COGS
our
have
model.
dropped.
Cost,
Yeah.
and therefore our prices
Our
have
retail.
dropped. Retail prices. So if you come by, you'll notice it's a lot more affordable.
affordable.
And, yeah.
Congratulations. What does SCUMA look like in 5 years?
I don't want to limit myself with that answer
Okay?
because it's gonna be big.
Yeah?
Yep.
SCUMA in 5 years has a farm where it's growing its own product?
I don't know.
Vertical
We're-
integration.
Yeah, we're yeah. We're very
The
it's
sky
very
is
malleable.
the limit. Wherever
yeah.
we want to go, we'll go there.
Yeah, it's very
Love.
we're gonna get
This is the only
Yeah,
answer.
yeah,
The
yeah.
only answer where you're playing it close to the vest here. The only question, you're playing it close to the vest here.
There's a lot of stuff brewing.
I know. You got a lot percolating.
I'm really excited. Like I want to say like 3 things that are going on right now, but I can't. 'Cause I don't want
I totally get it. Totally get it.
yeah.
Totally get it. You guys are an absolute dream to interview. We were going to do about 45 minutes with you, and we've
shoot.
gone an hour and 15.
Okay, sweet.
I think you guys
Shut
are
up.
A plus. No. It's been, dude. You don't know how much I enjoy
This is great.
doing this show and like chatting with like cool people like you that are just like, risking stuff for the betterment of their family. And like I
Generation.
try to emphasize this so much on the show. It's like, you guys, life is about taking strategic risk and hedging that risk. And if you work hard with a goal in mind, it's amazing of what can happen. And like this power couple is a perfect example of that. Why don't we close with this? Why should everybody that's watching here consider Skooma Boutique Dispensary?
You want to answer that? I've talked the whole time.
I mean,
You guys are so complimentary. You guys are like make a great couple.
Yeah, we would, wouldn't we? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean,
Education,
I think
we
it's
give you
like
a lot of it, huh?
education. I mean, we honestly have been blessed with the absolute best people ever to work for us, and so their knowledge, like we just feed off of them. And when people come in, I think that's our biggest thing is just trying to educate people because it's such a new kind of territory, and you haven't really seen it at this.
Market, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, you walk into a head shop, like for somebody who might be a novice to it, they have no idea where to
It's
start.
intimidating.
So I
And
say, we find their level of comfortability, right, where they're at, and then we see where they want to go, and then we take them there through our suggestions, whether, first it's very easy. Everything's like an equation, right? You just see where they're at and where they want to be and what, like, gradual and, intelligent steps you can take to get them there.
Yeah, and our team, I mean, it's like the whole feel of the experience. It's an experience coming into the shop. You get kind of like a one-on-one deal with one of our team members, and they kind of walk you through the whole thing. Any questions you have, I mean, just informing, educating, and, just getting people to come back. I mean, just showing them the benefits and having them come back with their testimonial of how it helped them. I mean, it's amazing.
We should mention the shirt.
I was going to plug
yes.
the shirt in, yeah.
Please.
John C. Poland post on River Road, Life Member, VFW, you should check it out. It's a really good organization. If you serve, you should join. If not, you could still come down, and they've got cheap beer and cheap pool, and I don't know their restrictions now due to COVID, but it's a good organization. They really help out. So the VFW, Veterans of Foreign Wars, on this Veteran Day, I'd like to plug them as a great organization. If you're a veteran of Foreign War, you please join. They'll take good care of you. It's a good, brotherhood, and card carrying life member. So,
Dude, you've come on the show 3 times. This is your best time.
okay,
And this is your best time, I think, in a lot of ways because she's here.
yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she's here, and I mean that because like you're just so complimentary, and I think you guys are gonna just have so much success, and you guys are gonna blow up. I cannot wait to see what Skooma is in 5 years. I very much enjoy this. This family, guys, owns the best dispensary in Charlottesville. It's located next to Rapture on the Charlottesville Downtown Mall. As I've said a couple times on the show, they have certificates of analyses for everything in the store. Often you'll see David in the store. He's got a very well-trained team and doing business the right way. I mean, did you hear what she said? Like, we were almost too honorable for the used car cake. I know, it's amazing. It's true.
It brings
It's
out
true.
the worst in people.
Yeah.
And then CBD brings out the best in people.
Yeah.
So it's like,
opposite.
Yeah, it's
right.
nice, yeah.
Opposite business.
Yeah.
It's the opposite business. Yeah, it does bring out the best in people.
yeah.
So tomorrow, thank you guys for joining
Thank you.
us.
Thank you
Jerry.
so
We
much.
really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. You're an amazing show. It's a freak. You want to talk about community staple? There's one right there sitting across the table from me. So thank you.
Thank you. Tomorrow we're going to talk equity grading. I've reached out to Lee Elberson, the CEO of Claiborne Education. So I thought getting someone who was impartial, that wasn't tied to a private school or a public school, but works with students from both, would make a fantastic sounding board or person we could ask questions about equity grading with. And I'm concerned. I'm concerned as a father first, as a little boy who soon will be in Albemarle County schools. And I want my son competing and held accountable and not just given allocates because everyone gets him in the classroom, but because he earned it. And I think if he earns stuff, it's going to help him down the road as opposed to just being given something. That topic on tomorrow's edition of the I Love Seville show. You guys have a good afternoon. Take care. Dudes, crushed it.
How was it? Dude, Jerry, thank you, man. I appreciate it. How much is that?